Right then, lads, welcome back to Kossi's Arsenal podcast. My name is Kossi, and we are back again with Arsenal news. Gonna be discussing a couple of stories in this one. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. So, gonna be discussing a couple of stories. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that yes, Arsenal will go for a striker, and they are more than interested in Dusan Vlahovic. He has also confirmed our interest in Lautaro Martinez and given a reason as to why Arsenal did not sign Lautaro Martinez by the end. Transfer behind the scenes. We'll try to dive into that. Granit Xhaka back to Borussia Mönchengladbach, back in training as well. I'm going to be giving you a full hint on what's happening. Alexander Lacazette is not staying with Arsenal. His dream is to play for Atletico Madrid, and according to more reports coming in, Laka would love to go to Atletico Madrid rather than stay at Arsenal. Arsenal have started chasing another midfielder, and his name is called Melo. Obviously, we know Melo from Barcelona to Juventus, not getting the game time, not actually getting the right place, not in the right place to show his full potential. But we know Melo, Brazilian midfielder, really talented, and maybe the solution to our lack of creativity could come in from players like Melo, Renato Sanchez. Arsenal willing to sell Leno, Pepe, Nketiah, and Lacazette to fund the move for Renato Sanchez. We'll try to dive into that and see how true is that, and do we need to sell all these players to get in just one player in Renato Sanchez? Of course, guys, we are sponsored by the beautiful people at H&S Gamers, so make sure you do check them out. H&S Gaming World Gaming Shop. They will give you the best entertainment in terms of gaming. Check them on Facebook, check them on Instagram, give them a follow, and obviously you'll find where they're located. You'll find their location, you'll find every bit of information on their pages. Give them a follow and make sure you do game with them. You can play career modes there, you can play GTA, you can play every game you want with them. So make sure you check them out, and thank you H&S for sponsoring this video and sponsoring the channel for this whole month. Let's start off that the video with Fabrizio Romano's claim and report. Of course, he came out and said on the Arsenal launch that Arsenal wanted Lautaro Martinez. Arsenal did want to go for Lautaro Martinez in the summer. Behind the scenes, we talked to the player. Behind the scenes, the move was actually going on. Yes, of course, I did report about Lautaro Martinez, and of course, rumors were flying all over Italy that yes, the player was actually landing and was going to join a team in London. It was either Spurs or Arsenal. I thought it was going to be Arsenal. Of course, Spurs never wanted to let go of Hurricane, and Arsenal never wanted to go to let go of Alexander Lacazette. So it was a very, very big fuss. It was a very big problem. It was a very, very big question. Was it going to be Lautaro Martinez coming in at Arsenal? Fabrizio Romano has actually come out and said that yes, Arsenal wanted the player. There was a huge boost when it comes to Arsenal getting the player, because he wanted to go. He wanted to leave Atletico Madrid. He wanted to leave Inter Milan before signing a new contract there at the San Siro. Because the problem was our problem. We never had Champions League. Lautaro Martinez was not 100% convinced, according to Fabrizio. He was not 100% convinced about joining a club without Champions League football, and he wasn't actually 100% convinced about the new project that we are running down there at the Emirates Stadium. And of course, that was the big problem, guys. That was the big problem as to why we didn't get Lautaro Martinez there in the summer. The project we sold to him, the project Young Arsenal, the project of young players developing together, pulling in the same direction, that was not his dream. So Romano said the deal actually didn't go through because of that. Arsenal said they want a player who believes 100% in the project they want to build. They want a player who believed 100% in something they were trying to put together. It wasn't Lautaro Martinez, and that's why the deal actually didn't go through. Of course, it remains to be seen again whether Arsenal will try to go back for Lautaro Martinez after maybe qualifying for Champions League or maybe qualifying for Europa League. At the moment, the deal doesn't actually look very, very good when it comes to Arsenal and Lautaro Martinez. But of course, Fabrizio Romano has actually come out and said one thing that he is sure about, one thing that he's actually very, very sure about, is that Arsenal have placed a striker. The striker need is on our priority. we will try to go for a striker. He said in the summer, yes, there were a couple of rumors, there were a couple of talks that we were trying to speak to a couple of strikers, and say that is true. Arsenal wanted a striker in the summer, because it depended on whether Aubameyang was going to leave or Alexander Lacazette. The fact that none of them left, and with the likes of Eddie Nketiah also staying at the club, there was no way we were gonna add another striker onto the top of the strikers. So what's happening now is Romano is saying that Arsenal in January they'll try to go for a striker. He said that Dusan Vlahovic is on top of our list. Yes, we're more than interested in the player. He said that of course there are no talks between us and the player. He confirms that. Yes, the agents of the player are not talking to us. They're not answering our phone calls and things like that. But he said that all the claims, all the rumors that coming out from the UK that Arsenal are not interested in that deal, he says that is not true. Arsenal want the player. Arsenal are very much interested in getting the player himself, Dusan Vlahovic, at the Emirates Stadium. So it remains to be seen if Vlahovic will join Arsenal. The interest there is what we have to get into the player. We look at him as one of those young strikers, beautiful, talented strikers that can come in and be long-term targets, long-term replacements of Aubameyang, and of course the man himself, Alexander Lacazette. So it could be in the summer. Romano acknowledges the fact that in the January transfer window, it's a very difficult one. It's a very difficult window. Clubs do not want to sell their players. Clubs do not actually want to let go of their best talents. They always want to keep them. They always want to have their best players, so that they could go for Europa League, like Fiorentina at the moment. They could go back to Europa League. They could go to Champions League. They need their best players. They need their best talent. It's going to be very hard for them to let go of their best players. So according to Fabrizio Romano, striker is the main priority, is the main target that Arsenal are looking at. That could be in the summer, and of course, it just replicates the words of Charles Watts. He did come out and said, of course, he came out I think a week ago, and he said, yes, Arsenal do want a striker. They will try to go for a striker, but of course, he said Dusan Vlahovic is not on our list. He said he's not among the priorities that we are looking at, and Fabrizio says that is not true. Vlahovic is one of the players that Arsenal are looking at. Where will it end? I'll be here to tell you wherever actually happens in that regard. Now let's drive down to midfield issues, which are also pressing at the club at the moment. Renato Sanchez and Melo are now the two most linked players with Arsenal in the past 48 hours. Obviously, I've been away trying to collect more of the fresh information, more of the fresh news, and we are back. Look, Renato Sanchez, Arsenal now being reported that they'll try to sell 3 players or 4 if it is needed in the January transfer window in order to finance the move for Renato Sanchez. The players that have been put under consideration, Lacazette is one of them, Eddie Nketiah, Leno, and Nicola Pepe. Of course, we know that there is much interest from Milan and and a couple of other clubs in England, in the UK, in France, and Italy for the man himself, Nicola Pepe. There's a lot of interest there, but of course the big question for me is how much are they willing to offer? Arsenal would love to sell Pepe, would love to sell Nketiah, would love to sell Lacazette to get in Renato Sanchez. They feel they need a midfielder in the January transfer window, and I cannot disagree, and I cannot actually agree more. They need, and we need, a midfielder in the January transfer window. Renato Sanchez again there last week, coming out and confirming that Arsenal is interested in him, and Milan, and they know of our interest. They're just waiting for the right moment. They're just waiting for the right bid to come in, and we get the player. Will we get Renato Sanchez? Big question in there. But obviously, according to all the reports, Arsenal are still in very much in for that deal. Let's wait and see what happens after that. And obviously, guys, we cannot go away from this place minus talking about Juventus, because we talked about Italy. Juve are willing to sell Melo. Arsenal have been linked with Melo, of recent. Again, another interesting player. Very interesting, very talented. Not getting the game time at Juve. I'll definitely 100% take the man Arthur Melo at Arsenal. He was at Barcelona, things never worked out really. He moved on, to Juve in a swap deal that actually saw Arthur Melo crossing over to Juve, and Miralem Pjanic moving over to Barcelona. Both deals actually didn't work. I was really disgusted by what Barcelona did there, giving Arthur Melo away, to Juve, and then taking Miralem Pjanic. Look, I rate Miralem Pjanic. I love the player. I love Pjanic. He's a very good midfielder. But for me, Arthur Melo, a young midfielder, 23 years of age, a player with a lot of future, a player with a lot of, things to offer on the table. I felt like Barcelona didn't actually do the right deal in that regard. But of course, guys, there, Arthur Melo linked with Arsenal. Another box-to-box, another interesting midfielder. Very good on the ball. Again, creativity is our issue. He could actually help us with that. So let's see if Arsenal will go for Arthur Melo. Juve are more than interested in selling the player. Of course, according to Nicola Scholo, he says two midfielders are a target for Juve, and of course they'll have to offload some of the players, Ramsey, Bentancur, and obviously Arthur Melo. Will we get Arthur Melo? We still wait to see what actually happens and comes out of that regard. And obviously, Granit Xhaka wants to go back to Borussia Mönchengladbach. He talked to the media and said, "Look, I'll be 34. I'll be 32. Sorry. By the time my contract ends, if Borussia Mönchengladbach will have me back, no problem. I will actually take the deal." So guys, that is basically what's happening around the club in terms of transfers and news. I'll be back with a predicted lineup and obviously Mikel Arteta's press conference reaction. See you then.